Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Well, holiday cheers are Americans in full swing, as mentioned, in terms of sending it out to one another. But this year, it is certainly not a merry time of the year for the homeless. According to the latest data, U.S. homelessness crisis has surged to record levels alongside things like rising rents and immigration. More people have experienced homelessness in the U.S. in 2024 than at any other point within the last 2 decades since the federal government began tracking the crisis. Let's take a look at some of those stats. We are taking a look at nearly 772,000 people who were experiencing homelessness across the country on a single night. This marks an increase of more than 80% from 2023. That's according to an annual point-in-time survey from the Department of Housing and Urban Development. Roughly a third of homeless Americans, that's more than 150,000 people, as you see here, have experienced homelessness for at least a year or longer. Now, the crisis has been fueled by the compounded effects of a lack of things like affordable housing, inflation, stagnant wages, high costs of living, discrimination, natural disasters, public health crises, and safety nets that fail to meet the rising demands for support, according to this report. Now, the results of the agency's survey, which measured the state of homelessness, and that happened on a single night in January 2024, reveals that it has surged almost among nearly every demographics based on what we see here. But what's interesting, which has included more than 80,000 families with children, those are the ones affected the most, up nearly 40% from last year, which means 150,000 children experienced homelessness. That reflects a 33% rise from last year. Now, Black Americans actually make up roughly 12% of the total U.S. population, and we have broken it down. 21% of those people live in poverty, and 32% of all the people experiencing homelessness is what the survey has found based on the stats that you see over here. Now, instead of helping the homeless population, well, state and local governments in the U.S. are increasingly criminalizing homelessness. Things like public camping, sleeping in cars, for example, loitering or asking for money. Well, these are now outlawed in many states. Nearly every state has at least one law in the books criminalizing homelessness. This is while the U.S. government has spent over $100 billion when it comes to the war in Ukraine and also the Israeli regime's genocide and war efforts by the regime. Now, this could actually end homelessness with $20 billion that you see there out of the $100 billion. You know, money that can be spent to provide other things like free health care to its people or end student debt.